What is up, everybody? We are back for another episode of Palm City Chucks, and this week we are bringing to you our wide receiver rankings. Now, we're going to do this one a bit different than we have our previous ranking episodes. Trying to pick top two receivers from each team didn't really make sense. Only choosing the top receiver didn't really make sense. So we decided we were going to go with wide receiver teams. What do we think? Where do we think each of the teams falls when you evaluate their entire wide receiver core? Makes it a little bit more interesting. You have some teams that are really top heavy, some teams that are really well balanced, and well, there's frankly some teams with jack shit. But we'll get to that. But let's get right into it. Chris, lead us off. What do you got?
So, starting with the dumpster fire Raiders at 32. Yeah, they're just really thin. Rocking Jacoby Myers as your wide receiver one could do better, and they need to. I expect they'll probably do something in the draft to address this, but yeah, for now, pre-draft sitting at 32. 31, I have the Titans. Similar story. Ridley, much better than Myers, but that's all they have. No depth at the position, a lot of question marks, a lot of guys that wouldn't have a job on other teams. Um, then coming in at 30, I have the Panthers, a group that could definitely climb. A lot of young guys on this group, and yeah, I mean, I just didn't see enough to have them higher, but they certainly could climb by the time next year is through. 29, I got the Broncos, kind of similar, just like kind of one guy teams right now. They got Judy, but nobody really else. Tillman had some impressive moments last year, but again, just
You
didn't quite
said
see enough,
Broncos.
and they
Do
no
you
longer
mean the
have.
Browns?
Yes, did I say Broncos? And
You
Judy
did
used to
indeed.
freaking play for them. That's confusing. Good catch. I meant Browns. Um, but yeah, Tillman had some moments last year, but I'm not that convinced yet. And they no longer have Winston throwing bombs. Think they're gonna take a step back as a group. Then at 28, I have the Bills. I really think Allen carries this group a lot. I'm not all that impressed with what he has. Shakir, really good player, really like him, but he shouldn't be like your main guy, and he really is. So
Yeah,
that's my
no,
first
that's
five.
That's totally fair. I don't hate how you started here. I definitely don't hate it. We'll just kick it off with you described it
Word.
perfectly. The dumpster fire that is the Raiders at 32. As you said, they got Jacoby as their number one, and while he's serviceable, he does not stack up to the other wide receiver ones in the league. And what's after that? Garbage. Um, Respectfully to those players.
Right.
31, Tennessee
Playoff team, though.
Titans.
Playoff team.
Again. Yeah, if they're asking you, they're a playoff team. That's for sure. Maybe nobody else in
Right.
the land, but you, yes. 31 Titans. Again, you said it perfectly. Got Ridley, but then after that, not much else. 30 for me. Now this one, you might fight me a little bit on this one, but I got the Patriots down here at 30. And that is accounting
Okay.
for the recent Stefon Diggs move. And I like Diggs a lot.
That
I
was what I
do.
was gonna ask.
Yeah, no, that's accounting for that. Because here's the deal. His last year with the
Hmm.
Bills, bit of a down year on the Texans. He was good, not insane, and coming off the torn ACL. He's aging. I'm not sure how much faith I have in him to be
This is
especially
true.
on a team with the Pats with not much after Diggs. How much volume can he really handle and produce on this Patriots team? I'm not convinced, so I got them at 30. I got the Bills coming in at 29, just like you. I agree. There is not a lot there, and Josh Allen carries this unit, no doubt in my mind. And then at
Hmm.
28, I've got the Giants coming in. They've got Neighbors. He looks like a bright young star, but Slayton and Robinson, you know, okay, not great, but 28 for the Giants for me.
Fair, fair. All right. At 27 for me, I have the Broncos. Another group I could see making a big jump here. Sutton's been solid most of his years in the league as long as he's healthy. Mims showed some flashes last year, and they have some other guys that, again, are young, could really impress this upcoming season, especially with Knicks getting more and more comfortable. 26 got the Jags. Brian Thomas Jr., friggin' awesome year last year. Expect him to continue to carry this group, but they did add Brown and they still have Gabe Davis. So not horrible. We're getting a little better, folks,
A
as
little
we
bit.
go through. 25, I got the Chargers. Um, this group again really could climb. A lot of young receivers on the Chargers roster, and they did bring back Mike Williams. Curious to see if he kind of revamps his career there. 24, this is where I have the Pats. You bring up some good points with Diggs. Definitely old. Is he worth that contract? Hell no. But I do think he could be a nice, easy target for a young quarterback in May. Um, and then at 23, I have the Jets. Another team with really just one dude, Garrett Wilson, and he's got to carry the team. And I think he is a good player. He's kind of been quiet compared to what most people thought, especially once he got Rodgers, but I think he'll continue to grow and improve.
That's fair. I will say I'm excited, very excited to get through this list because we are definitely going to have the most differences on this list. They may not be massive. There's some that are already, but there's going to be so many that are like 5 spots off, and I'm so excited to see how this plays out. But
Oh, good.
we'll get
Good.
back to mine here. At 27 is where I have the Browns coming in. I thought Jerry Jeudy was excellent last year. Thought he did a really good job once he came over to the Browns. I personally I'm not super convinced by Tillman. I totally receive your points, but he's got some to prove. But I like what he showed when he was playing a lot more last year. So I like that. And then, Michael Woods is a whatever third wide receiver, which is why they're at 27. But um, 26 for me, that's where I've got the Panthers coming in. Jalen Coker, Leggett. As you said, a lot of them are young. I liked the flashes they showed, and they have the ultimately reliable Adam Thielen, which honestly, he's the big reason they're not down at
Yes.
like for me, down a little farther. But Adam Thielen, he's just so reliable. So I gave him a lot of credit here, putting them at 26.
Yeah.
25, that's where I got the Jags coming in. As you said, Brian Thomas was freaking awesome last year. There is no other way to put it. Um, De'Ami Brown and Gabe Davis or Parker Washington after that. So, but mostly a one-man crew there. 24, maybe first quite controversial one, unless the Pats, you didn't have them too much higher, but I got the Cowboys coming in at 24. And yes, I'm very aware that CD Lamb is on that team. I get it. Trust me. But
Who else?
Jonathan Mingo and Jalen Tolbert as your 2 and 3? I mean, come on now. Come on now.
Yeah.
You can do better than that. You're the
It's
Cowboys.
bad.
You spend money. Go get yourself a freaking wide receiver 2 at least. Come on now. 23, that's where I got the Falcons coming in. Drake London's pretty great. Personally,
Okay.
I'll just throw it out there. I think Drake London is slightly overrated. I think he's a very good receiver, but I think some people are a little too high on the guy. I don't think he creates as much separation as he should for like a true wide receiver one. He's a very big body, good at contested catches, but I don't think he creates as much separation as he should
Right.
for a true wide receiver one. Um, so got the Falcons at 23 there.
Okay. Um, 22 for me. I got the Giants coming in here. Just expecting Neighbors to be better this year. I think he's going to have better quarterback play, whether it's Russell Wilson or Winston. Both are going to help him out more than he got last year. And Robinson and Slayton, a part of that group too. Not horrible. Kind of two threes there, and then a one in Neighbors. But yeah, it's not too bad.
Random note.
21, I have. Yeah.
I was just saying, random note. If they want Neighbors to grow, like you just said, they should start Winston. Just gonna throw that out there. Just gonna put that out there
Oh,
in the universe.
100%.
Yeah,
That's what the world wants, man.
yeah, that's
I
true.
was very
Yeah,
upset when they pulled the trigger on Wilson.
me as well.
Even
Me
as a
as well.
Birds fan, like I know we'll get our pick sixes too, but if Neighbors torches us for a few, that's all right. At 21, I have the Cardinals. Another young guy in Harrison. Think he picks it up a little bit, and I like Wilson a lot. I think he is an underrated guy and a pretty solid number two. Young kid who's continuing to grow. Um, Number 19, this is where I have the Cowboys. I agree. If Lamb wasn't so damn good, I mean, these guys are battling with the Raiders for the dumpster fire of the league. It's just CD is that good that I've given him this much grace, and that's enough I'm going to say about that because I'm getting a little queasy. Uh, 18, have the Saints coming in here. Um, might be a little low for them. I actually really like what they got going on here. Picked up Brandon Cooks. Shaheed, if he comes back healthy and plays the way he started this past year, really nice. And Olave, kind of a question mark up until this point. He's shown flashes of being a true number one and a really good player. But yeah, consistency and staying on the field is going to be big for him. But this is a group that could definitely climb. But for now, have him at 18.
All right. You want to tell me who your number 20 team is? You skipped over that one. We went 21 Cardinals and then 19
Oh,
Cowboys.
did
So
I?
you did indeed.
Jesus. I wanted to get the Cowboys done, man.
I
I wanted
respect
them
that.
done. Um, yeah, 20's gonna be the Niners. Um, Lost Debo, still have Ayuk, but coming back from major injury. Really like what Jennings showed. Pearsall don't really know too much yet. Um, but I do like Jennings a lot, and if Ayuk comes back and is serviceable like he once was, I mean, this is another group that could climb. But for now, too many question marks. Got him at 20.
That's fair. That's fair. Thanks for filling in the gap, my guy. Um, Number
Yeah,
22
right.
for me. I got. It's ironic you say you think that maybe your 18 was lower for the Saints. I'll save the expansion on that because I got the Saints at 22. Um, Mostly to your point of
Okay.
like Olave has been a real question mark, and he severely underperformed last year. Like really bad. It was not good, and even before he went out with his concussion. To be clear, like he was not playing
Right.
that
Which
well.
was a major concussion,
It
by the way.
was. It was. I
Missed a
mean, guy
lot of
was out
time.
for what, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, maybe. It was a
Yeah.
very long time. Um, so yeah, but you're right about Shaheed. He was balling at the beginning of the year, but at the same time,
Yep.
I have trouble sometimes putting stock in a true go route guy. Like that's what he is. Like there is, it's not like a Tyreek Hill who also
Yeah.
runs the middle routes, but it's a true go route guy, and I think that played a big part in me putting them down at 22. 21. That's where I've got the Chargers coming in. Um, Lad McConkey looked really awesome last year. Quentin Johnston,
Yep.
Butterfingers McGee. But I still think there's a good player in there if he can figure out how to not drop the ball. I really do. But he's got to fix that and soon. You don't get that long in the NFL to figure out how to fix drops. Um, and then Mike
Right.
Williams back on the Chargers. I really like that move for them. I really do. Um,
Yeah.
Got them at 21. 20. Also the 49ers. Basically the same reasons you said there. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, bit of a question mark, but if he returns to form, they could definitely be climbing here. Pearsall, as you said, don't really know what we got there. I didn't see too much of him. And the big thing for me is I feel like I do know about this group right now is Jawan Jennings, and I think he's severely underrated. I really like him. So
Yeah.
got them at 20.
Yep.
19 for me, that's where I got the Broncos coming in. Um, I really like Cortland Sutton. I think he's a fantastic undervalued wide receiver one. He might be a high end wide receiver two on a lot of teams, but for the Broncos, he's been a really, really great one for them for a long, just so consistent, I think is the way I would put it. Um,
Yeah.
and I did
He is.
like what I saw in terms of the Marvin Mims flashes last year. I think maybe a little more than you did, and that's why I got him a little higher, but I like what he's got cooking. And Devon Vele, hopefully I said that right. Um, Older rookie last year, so I like him as wide receiver three. He's still growing, but he's got a lot of experience. So coming in at 19 for me, they're the Broncos. And then 18 is where I've got the Cardinals at. Marvin Harrison Jr., just so much potential there. They could absolutely climb if he continues to grow in what we expected him to be when he was drafted.
Yeah.
And I really like the way you described Michael Wilson. I feel like he's an unknown young guy that a lot of people are going to know his name soon. I think he could be
Yeah.
really, really awesome. And him and Harrison Jr. Could become a, a very scary duo, especially if Kyler decides to figure his shit out. Um, yeah, that's what I got for 22 through 18. What's up next for you?
Nice. Starting to heat up here. Started
A little bit.
getting extra tough here. We got teams with good receivers coming up. Or at least I do. Um 17 is where I put the Colts. Another group that really could climb. I really think Downs, like, he's here. He has captured the moment. He is the number one in my opinion for the Colts. Michael Pittman as a two, pretty solid. And then Alec Pierce, good deep threat. And then they have some other guys too. Donnie Mitchell. Yeah, it's a good group. But we're getting good. So I got him here at 17, but again, could improve from that. 16, got the Packers here, which going into this, really would have thought they'd be up higher. I really like their group. Part of why they are down here is we tried to restrict it to the top three receivers because they honestly have like five or six guys that can play receiver. They're just none of them are special. They're just all solid. Which I mean, I think you can win with that formula, and I think they've shown that they pretty solid year last year. But yeah, I picked Reed, Watson, and Dobbs. But yeah, they have Heath, they have Wicks, they have other guys too that could definitely fill in there. And then at 15, I have the Bears here. No longer have Keenan Allen. I think Adunze will improve because of this. Still have DJ Moore at the wide receiver one. Um, really depends how Adunze grows here. This could be an offense with two legit wide receiver ones in the near future. But for now, got him down here at 15. At 14, this is where I have the Falcons. I agree. I think London probably does get a little too much credit. But that being said, I mean, you said it. He's a good big body receiver and can certainly be a number one. But yeah, creating separation, things like that aren't really his forte, but comes up clutch in the moment and really good hands receiver. Mooney and McLeod also pretty solid. So I think it's a good group. Curious to see how Penix does getting them all the ball, though. We didn't see too much of Penix. And yeah, kind of makes the Falcons a question mark. Coming in at 13, I have the Chiefs here, which we'll see what we get this year because there's outside forces affecting this wide receiver group right now in Rice and Worthy. Also have Hollywood. It's a good group, and they have a hell of a quarterback throwing them the ball. So, and with an aging Kelsey, I think these guys are only going to grow in the offense, especially Worthy. Uh, Again, a team that could move up higher, or if they're not on the field due to legal issues, maybe they're about 14, 13 where I have them.
That's gonna the Chiefs are gonna be very fun to discuss. We gotta ways until I list them off. Um, I'm ready for that
Okay.
one. We're gonna note that one down for discussion later. Um, number
Are you aware of
12.
the legal issues?
I am aware of the legal issues. I will caveat, I definitely made the assumption the three you mentioned are all on the field when I put them down on this list.
Okay. That's
That
fair.
is an assumption I made.
It's a fair
Um,
assumption.
yeah. So not 12 for me. I was reading from a list I was writing for you. 17 for me, excuse me. That's where I have the Jets coming in. Wilson, got an opportunity to be really great. I feel kind of bad. I feel like his growth was stunted a bit last year with them bringing in Devontae and just the Devontae Rogers connection. You could tell Wilson was getting a little frustrated, but I think he's got a lot more than what he gave last year. So excited to see that. Josh Reynolds as a two, I think. Maybe that's Alan Lazard. I don't really know. But I think Josh Reynolds is actually pretty solid doing his time for the Lions. I really appreciated what he did there. So had a little extra insight into him, maybe. And maybe that's why I got them up a little
Yeah,
higher than
injury prone
you.
guy though for sure.
He is a little injury prone. He is a little injury prone. I don't think I actually even thought about injuries when I made this list, to be honest with you. I think I was going pure talent in my mind. But that's, availability is an ability. So fair point. Um,
Yes, the best ability.
yeah. 16 for me is where I've got the Colts coming in. Um, they're just solid all around, actually, at the wide receiver position. And to your point, you're right. Adonai Mitchell is a really good number four. So if we expanded this out, I actually think they'd probably move up even higher because I think they're number three and Alec Pierce is
Yeah,
better than some of the teams above number three. But I really like the combo of Pittman
yeah,
and Downs. So um, it's really great stuff. 15, that's where I got the Texans. Nico Collins is just a beast. He's a beast. Um, Tank Dell, man, that injury was scary. I'm not sure what to expect from him when he comes back, so we'll see how that goes. Um, good, not great in my mind. And they picked up Christian Kirk as their number three, pretty solid number three. 14, I've got the Ravens coming in here. We talked about many a times,
maybe.
Bateman and Flowers are really good creating separation, and Lamar might be a little bit of the problem there. But at the same time, I'm
Yeah,
looking at production, man. Production's just not there to match the teams
yeah.
above them in,
Lamar's
in
not
terms of
going
those guys.
anywhere.
Yep, exactly. And D Hop is a third. That's nice, but I think we saw with the Chiefs last year. He is aging. He's still very solid, but he's getting older. Um, and then at
Hmm.
13 for me, that's where I've got the Steelers coming in. Combination of DK and Pickens. It's pretty scary. But the reason I think I've got them this low is their wide receiver three is just not it. Calvin Austin, super small. Don't get me wrong, he's super fast, but I don't put a lot of weight in
Oh,
him
I
in a
like
discussion
him.
like this. I like him, but like, what's he done? What's he done? It's not a lot. Uh,
He's a spark plug.
Spark plug. That's maybe a bit of a stretch, but we'll see. We'll see. Give me your 12 through 8.
Yeah. Well, we won't even go to war on it because spoiler alert, Steelers are coming up. But at 12, I do have the Ravens. I agree. Lamar definitely limits this group. As good as Lamar is, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to hate on Lamar, but um yeah, Flowers and Bateman amazing at creating separation as you said. D Hop, I agree. I think he's aging and it's not the same D Hop. If it was, this group is freaking top notch. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's like a half D Hop
that's fair.
at this point.
Yeah,
Um at 11, I have the Steelers. Really curious to see this Metcalf Pickens combo. All the memes are just great. I have to say that. I'm
they
loving
are
them. It's
fantastic.
just
There
so
could be a
funny.
literal bomb go off on the field, man. With those two out there at the same time, are you kidding me?
Oh, I know, dude. Yeah. They have to learn to play together. Is what needs to happen. All right. At 10, I have your Lions coming in. Um, St. Brown's freaking amazing. Really wanted me to. I was close to putting them higher just because of this guy. And the chemistry he has with Goff is just phenomenal. They are on the same page at all times. Um, but yeah, we got some good groups coming up. So slotted them in at 10. At 9, I have the Seahawks. New addition Cooper Cup. Also got Valdez Scantling at the 3 spot. JSN at the number 1. Probably one of my favorite, like, new coming on, like, amazing stud receiver in the league. He is really just taken over. If I was the Seahawks, I would have done the same thing by Metcalf. Like this is his team now, and they got Cup in, which is really solid if he stays on the field. At 8, I have Cup's old team, the Rams, who brought in Adams, which questionable move, which we'll probably get into that in a free agency episode. Pretty passionate about this one. But yeah, still have Puka at the number 1, another really good young receiver who is just taking the league by storm.
That's fair. That's fair. One last thing to add to your Steelers comment about DK and Pickens got to learn how to play together. I actually don't
Yeah.
know that they can. That is my big hang up there.
Yeah.
I don't know
Oh,
that
we'll
they
see.
can. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see. Like
It's gonna
we'll
be
talk about it
interesting.
more in a free
Something's going to happen.
in a free agency slash off season episode. But Pickens having to deal with being a number two. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Uh, Anyways, we'll get back to my list here. Number 12. That's where I got the Packers coming in. As you said, this one was so tough for me because across the board, they probably have maybe the best average talent. You know, if you're looking at least the teams below, you
Oh,
know,
if you're going like 1 through 5 or 6,
yeah,
sure.
yeah. But as you said, and you put it perfectly, there is no true wide receiver one superstar on this team at all, at all. And I
No.
guess if we're considering injuries, Christian Watson has a problem staying healthy as well. So there's that.
Yes, he does.
Now, number 11. That's where I got the Commanders coming in here. Scary Terry, what a beast. So consistent. Um, Not much else needs to be said about him. They picked up Debo. You know, that's cool. Good for them. What kind of Debo are they going to get? And so I had a little problem putting them somewhere because I was like, I don't really know. Is this Debo of old? Okay, maybe they're top five. Is
This is
this
fair.
an even decreasing Debo? Maybe they should be lower. But the big thing why they didn't crack my top 10, their number three being Luke McCaffrey, I just can't get behind that. He didn't show me really anything at all last year. True question mark. Um, Number 10, that's where I got the Bears slotting in. Admittedly, this might be slightly rosy outlook for them right now, slightly. I think I'm projecting a pretty decent Rome jump now that Keenan's gone. I think I definitely
Yeah.
factored that into them falling at 10. Um, and Alameda Zacchaeus did a really good job when he was on the Falcons. That's really the last that I remember of him, you know, being a consistent producer. And we can do anything like that on the Bears. I think they got a pretty solid group here because, you know, DJ Moore is awesome. Number 9, I also have the
Yep.
Seahawks at 9. So we line up there. I agree with you. I like Smith and Jigba a lot. Um, I think this was another situation where it was like, can DK and this guy share the ball as much as they need to? Probably not. We want to give it to our younger guy in Smith and Jigba. Seahawks had the right idea. Also makes me question what was going through the Steelers' mind. But whatever, especially when they got bigger problems.
Right.
Different episode. But also, you said picking up Cooper Cup, a guy that's okay being a number two for sure now. He learned how to do that with Puka. So that's a really great addition. I like
Yep.
that a lot for them. And then, as you said, Valdez Scantling as a three, give them you know, a field spacer, I guess, for those two guys who I think are really good. And then at number 8 for me is where I've got the Lions coming in. So not too much higher than you, even with the Lions bias, I guess we'll call it. Um,
Yeah.
Amon Ra is a beast, one of the best receivers in the league, no doubt about it in my mind. I don't care that
Yeah.
he's more of a prototypical slot guy. He outproduces so many of the outside wide receivers in the league. Doesn't matter.
Yep.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Jamison
Exactly. One
Williams,
word: production.
exactly, exactly. Jamison Williams, like what he showed last year, if he can keep that up, ooh, this group could be really scary if he really blossoms. And then Tim Patrick at the three, who was really consistent after he started to hit the field for Lions. Nothing great, nothing bad. We'll take good.
All right. Down to 7. Oh boy. At 7, I have the Bucks, a group that I really wanted to put higher, but Godwin suffering another major injury made me want to put him here. But I mean, Baker's been amazing with this group, and I expect him to continue to be. We know Mike Evans is. I mean, I can't even say it. I don't want to jinx the guy, but he's gonna do good. He does good every year. And then McMillan looked really good too, filling in for Godwin and Evans when they were down. Really like this group. If Godwin comes back and plays the way he did to start like last year, oh my goodness, yeah, this group's gonna move up. But just too big of a question mark for me, so got him at 7. At 6, I have another question mark, one you already mentioned. Uh, Commanders, and that's Debo. What kind of Debo are they going to have? I don't know. But Scary Terry and Daniels clearly have chemistry, and I mean he produces enough to to bump up Debo's production. And I'm really curious how they use Debo. Is he going to run the ball? How creative are they going to get with him? Also, little side note for their third receiver, I actually put Noah Brown, which I think he's been pretty consistent everywhere he's gone. Really solid number three. Not gonna, you know, win you games per se, other than ridiculous Hail Marys against the Bears. But other than that, I mean, he's just consistent and he's gonna do his job. He's not gonna mess up really. I like him as a three. At five, this is where I have the Texans. Another question mark. And you mentioned this one too, Dell. What kind of Dell are we gonna have when he's back? Not sure, but all I do know is Nico Collins is amazing. Another really young receiver that's just taken over. I mean, we really, I'd be curious. I know we did teams for these, but if we could somehow build the courage to create like a top 10 or something, I'd be really curious to see how many of these really young talents are going to be in that. But yeah, he's amazing. And then to have Christian Kirk as a three, I think that's really solid. Very good receiver room there. At four, this is where I have the Dolphins. Have him at four. Another team that could be higher, but with Hill last year and Tua's almost new play style of get rid of the ball before I die, throw it to Janu, not a receiver. So it's limiting production for the other guys. So have him at four, but my gosh, talent wise, this group. I mean, there's no duo faster in the league, and speed kills. So it's a very good group there. At three, I have the Vikings. Justin Jefferson, I mean, we all know he's just amazing. And then Addison and Naylor also very solid. Addison, another really good young talent that would probably be a wide receiver one on a handful of these teams. But yeah, to pair him with the best in the game, if not second best in the game, amazing group. Have him at three.
Okay. Okay. Don't hate some of those. Well, some of those.
Oh, we
Um,
have differences, brother. I'm looking at yours
oh,
too. I'm like,
yeah.
this is, yeah,
Yeah.
war's gonna be fun.
Yeah. It's gonna be freaking bloody. So for me, at 7, I got the Rams coming in at 7 here. As you mentioned, Puka's really awesome. Whether or not you like the move, Devontae is still Devontae, and he is definitely aging a little bit, but if you look even 2 years ago on the Raiders, he was a freaking baller still. Can't say the same about a guy like
Yeah,
D-Hop. So
he
I think
was.
I think Devontae's maybe got a little more in the tank than we think. And then Tutu,
Yeah.
solid enough 3 when you got Nakua and Devontae as your 1 and 2. Number 6
Oh yeah.
is where I have got the Vikings popping in at. Justin Jefferson is amazing, as you mentioned. Jordan Addison, very good wide receiver too. I think why I have them behind the team I will mention next is the wide receiver 3 difference there. Um, I just like the other wide receiver 3 a lot more than I do Naylor, personally. Which brings me to the next team I've got at 5, which is the Chiefs. As I said, assuming that Raji Rice and Xavier Worthy were on the field, which I will say it seems very likely that Worthy will be. It seems like that was a bullshit story that's already been disproven. Raji Rice, we know he did that shit. It's just a matter of when is he allowed back on the field. So I'm just being blunt, bro. Like, is what it is.
Keep it a buck.
Yeah. So, and I really like, and I think something that had me put them up this high is I really like what Worthy showed personally, especially after Hollywood Brown came back and they were using Worthy how they wanted to use Worthy. He looked really, really good in that role. And Raji Rice was insane his rookie year. And Hollywood Brown as a 3, that's pretty all right if you ask me. So I got them at 5. And at 4, I've also got the Dolphins. Now, I think I would if Tua did not miss time last year, I may very well have had this group at number one. What made me put them down at four was Tua went out, and this receiver core couldn't produce jack shit. They looked terrible. Terrible.
Yeah.
Which, sure, some of it comes down to quarterback play and a drop off there, but my goodness, if you're really that talented, you're going to do something. We saw it with, like, Jacoby Myers working with 7 different quarterbacks on the Raiders last year. Like, come on, guys. But the talent is still definitely there, so they deserve to be up somewhere towards the top of this list. And at 3 is where I've got the Bucks coming in at. Evans is just Mr. Consistent. Never misses a beat. Most reliable guy out there, honestly. Um, Godwin, I guess I'm projecting that he comes back, fine. Penn Stater, so I'm putting some faith in him to, shine after the injury again. Gotta have the faith in the boy. And then to your point, I really like what I saw out of Jalen McMillan, especially for where they got him in the draft. I think he's looking like a steal for them as a wide
Yeah.
receiver 3. So I really, really like what they got going there with McMillan. But that's what I got, and we are down to 2. Both got the same top 2. Curious
Down
what
to
order they're
two.
in.
We do. I have a feeling they're in different orders.
I also have a feeling they're in different orders. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, at two I have the Bengals.
Surprise, fucking
Yeah.
surprise.
This is this is a group that can be number one. Honestly, I would go as far as to say my top four could all be one. And if I was arguing or discussing with anybody and they had them at one, I would be okay with that. And I'm talking Dolphins, Vikings, Bengals, and my number one, the Eagles. But yeah, any of those groups, fine. I see it. But yeah, for me, I'm going Birds at one. I mean, AJ Brown and Smitty, oh, what a dream combination. And Dotson as a three, he started turning it on kind of late in the year, building that chemistry with Jalen. And yeah, I mean, we got him on his rookie deal another year. He's only going to continue to grow. And I believe the Eagles are the only team with 3 first round draft picks as their uh 1 through 3 in their receiver room, which is impressive. And yeah, and I wouldn't say any of them are busts. I mean, if one is, it's Dotson, and that's most likely because he's the 3. It's not even his fault. But yeah, I mean, it's a great group, but had to roll with my birds.
Yeah. All right. So let's just start with that. We know my order, right? Eagles at 2, Bengals at 1. Please rationalize for me how the Eagles beat out the Bengals here. Seriously. Jamar Chase v. A.J. Brown. Gotta be Jamar. Has to be. It has to be. There's not a question in my mind.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. That's not where it's
Like
at.
Higgins over Smith?
I
Higgins.
think that's
For
I
sure.
think that
I don't think it's. I
yeah,
actually
no,
don't think that's a
I
question.
disagree there.
Yeah, like I don't at all. I think you're just
It
wrong.
that's
There's not many. I'll
definitely
just tell you, like, I think you're wrong. I
okay.
think you're just wrong. Yeah.
So you disagree like if somebody had the Vikings one or Dolphins one, like you think they're crazy too? It's not just hatred for Eagles.
Yeah. No, seriously. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think it's the Bengals by far.
Okay.
I think T Higgins as a
Okay.
number 2 is up. Yeah, it's not Eagles hate when I say that. I think the Bengals are undisputed number 1. Um, Especially Yoshi Vosh popped off last year a little bit as a wide receiver 3. The guy caught quite a few tutties. I don't have the number ready for me right now, but it was quite a bit. Certainly more than Jahan. So like if I'm looking at it this way, for you to make
Oh
that
yeah. He
ranking,
definitely had more production.
yeah. So for you to make that ranking, that means in your head, we've got both agree Jamar over AJ. Maybe not a huge gap there. Okay. Yoshi Vosh over Dotson. I think there's a fairly sizable gap right there, given production that they've both produced to this point, outside of Dotson's rookie year where he turned it on a little bit. But that's wide receiver 3, so maybe you don't put a lot of stack there. But so that's 2 for the Bengals, which we both, I think, agree on. Disagree on the Smith Higgins part. Does that mean you think Smith is that much
Yeah.
better than Higgins that he makes up for the other two?
It's not even necessarily that. Smitty is on the field the entire season. Knock on wood. Higgins never is. And yeah, I think there's value in that. And I also think, yes, Chase is better than AJ, but I think that is hella close. And I might be crazy for that too, but that's hella close. AJ, when you look at any advanced metric, is a lot of times the number one receiver in the league. As far as creating separation, contested catches, things like that, he's the guy. And we're talking about talent of a wide receiver room. Um, and no no hate against my boy Hurts, but he's not Burrow.
This is true. This is true. And dude, I love AJ Brown, bro. I share a name with the guy. Like like I get it. I do, and I do think it's like close, but I also like I would go as far as to say I really don't think it's a question for me, personally. Like if I okay, like
Yeah.
if I okay,
Hey,
let's put it in
I
a different
respect it.
perspective. If you're in a fantasy draft next year, and the best two options on the board will really simplify this are Jamar Chase and AJ Brown. Who you pick?
I'm taking Chase. I'm
All
taking
right. Well,
Chase, but I am definitely
we've
taking
put a lot
Smitty
on
over Higgins.
production. We've put a lot on production here. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I think we got
That's
some
fine, and I admitted that
Eagles
Chase is ahead of AJ.
blinders. Eagles blinders are on. Yes, they
Nah,
are.
bro.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, but it's not as in you're making it seem like I'm a psycho.
I do. I think
it's
it's so clear
it's
cut. I
really
think
not
it's
like that.
so clear cut. Bengals number one.
It's
No,
not, bro.
bro, it
It's
is
not.
though. It is. It is.
It's
It's fine,
not. I'm telling you, it's not, dude.
bro. Ugh,
It's not.
you're gonna stress
The
me out.
Bengals have Burrow spinning the rock. They're down freaking 20 every game, and Higgins also plays 2/3 out of the season. Like it's really not that crazy. It's
If we
not.
want to like I said, I
I
don't know that
I
I very
I
much so
honestly,
accounted for
if I
availability.
wasn't an Eagles fan, well, and
I
that's
don't.
fair, but I did, and I think availability is very important,
You
and
didn't
that's
let
part
me
of
like
my
finish
argument, and that's
my
fair.
point being here. Like I guess if we're counting for availability, maybe, but I think even if I account for Higgins' availability, I'm still going Bengals, man. I really am. I just hey, to each their own. To each their own. We should move on and argue something else. But like that's wild, wild work. In
it's
my opinion, you pick
it's
something.
not, bro.
You pick something.
I don't want to
Let's move
move
on.
on as long as you say it's wild. I
My
don't even want to,
my
but I will.
position won't change. Like I said,
For the
it's not just the
fans, we'll
Eagles.
just continue this after.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair enough.
um,
Yeah.
yeah. So we did have some wild differences. The main one I want to bring up is because throughout this list, I feel like you valued wide receiver three a lot more than I did, and yet you have the Texans down at 15, and I have them at 5. And you also assumed players were going to be available as well, more than I did. So I'm curious why you have them so low, considering Kirk's are 3, and I assume you assumed Dell's gonna return and be Dell.
Yeah. So when I say availability, I didn't consider that. I mean injuries that haven't happened yet. How prone are they to injuries? I did consider injuries
Okay,
that already took
pre-existing.
place. Yes, injuries that already took
Okay,
place. And Dell's looked really bad.
okay,
So I'm a little scared about him,
it did,
and
it
how he
did.
comes back. And Christian Kirk also hurt last year and missed the end of the year. So I'm kind of curious to
This
see
is
how
true.
does he come back. He's moving to a new spot there. As you said, Nico Collins is amazing. He would probably, if we ever were to do that top 10 wide receiver list in the league, yeah, he's probably on that. He's probably ahead of many of the receivers
Yeah,
that I have on the teams in front of him. But I'm just very, very
right.
concerned about Tank Dell and Christian Kirk. How do they come back? Also,
Yeah.
not that this really counts for too much in like the wide receiver rankings purely, but which CJ Stroud do we get? You know, is it sophomore slump CJ Stroud or is it
Also
rookie
fair.
CJ Stroud? I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not
we
sure.
saw two very different Strouds.
Yeah.
Two different strands of Stroud.
Yeah. So that's why I had them all the way down at 15. I'll admit maybe that was slightly harsh, but I'm not super
Yeah, it was
super
slight.
high on Tank
I mean,
Dell.
I'm looking at the teams ahead of them. It's not that crazy that you have them there. There's a lot of teams with a lot of talent at receiver, and
If
you
I'm
look
looking
ahead
at the
of your list here on at 15. Like maybe, like the big one's probably the Bears, which you even
Yeah,
admitted
that's
you
what I
might
was gonna
be
say. The Bears,
glazing a little bit. But
I definitely projected a big year for Odunze when I put them at 10. Even said that when I put them there. Might be high on
right,
them. I'll admit that. So yeah,
hey, fine with me. Go Bears.
yeah. I guess you having them at
um,
5. Does that
any
assume you think Tank Dell and Christian Kirk come back from their injuries, looking really good?
yeah. Well, and it's like you said, it's tough to separate the quarterback play, and I really think Stroud's gonna bounce back and be better. And yeah, I just also, which you do too, but I really love Collins. And I, as I said too, like I've really valued the wide receiver one on this list, and that shows in quite a few spots. Like even the Packers, like I said, don't have a true wide receiver one, have them all the way down at 16. But when you have a guy like Nico Collins, like how do you not, man? Gotta amp him up. And then I
It's
really
fair.
like. I mean, yeah, I assumed they're gonna be relatively healthy and back, and with Kirk at a 3, that's pretty solid, man.
Yeah. Not bad. Not bad.
Very
Like
solid.
I'm worried about how those two come back. His Kirk's also getting a little older. Tank Dell's still really young, but like I said, that
Yeah.
injury did not look good. Um, One I want to talk about, I've got them at 19. You've got them all the way down at 27. The Broncos. What happened there?
Broncos. Yeah, I mean, I said it and you agreed too. Like we're both Sutton fans. Really underrated wide receiver one and truly is a wide receiver one in the league. Um yeah, I don't know. I really like if you look at the guys I have above them, I like the Chargers group. They have a handful of guys that I really think are going to grow this year. I could maybe see myself putting them ahead of the Jags, but LSU boy Brian Thomas Jr. That was a tough one for me.
Mm,
um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a group that could grow. As you mentioned, Mims really showed some nice flashes last year. And as you also know, got him on the dynasty squad. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. Um,
this is true.
but yeah, it's a good group. I just honestly struggled where to place them. It's a good group, but there's question marks, and that's kind of man. I'd probably have 8, 9 teams in a row just like that are just really question marks for me. And
Yeah.
yeah, had to put them in an order. Easier said than done. Um, Yeah, one I want to bring up with you is what was oh yes. So the Jets all the way at 17, pretty much only Garrett Wilson there. But then the Cowboys who have CeeDee Lamb and only CeeDee Lamb all the way at 24. I'm wondering the thought process there.
I'm
Because I would
absolutely
also say the
taking
Cowboys have a better quarterback.
I'm absolutely taking I will say I think I did a really good job separating quarterback play until I got up towards the top of the list and or top half of the list, and then I started
Yeah, it
thinking
was
about that
tough
because
to
it got
avoid.
tighter.
I tried to avoid
It
it the
was.
entire time, but
Now,
it's tough.
for the Jets, like if you like the example you brought up there was the Cowboys, right? I am absolutely
Yep.
taking Josh Reynolds and Alan Lazard over Jalen Tolbert and Jonathan Mingo all day, every day. And I think maybe to your point, I think when we
Oh,
made
I'd
these
agree.
lists, we looked at it a little bit different. You definitely put a lot of weight on wide receiver one. It's like, yeah, right now I'll probably take CD over Wilson. Could definitely change in the coming years. I'll just throw that out there. Um,
Yeah.
and I think maybe that was your rationale for like a switch up there, but I'm taking Josh
Yeah.
Reynolds over Tolbert, and I'm taking Lazard over Mingo. Mingo is completely unproven. He totally
Yep.
failed on the Panthers, I believe, is where he came from, where there was like no
Yeah,
competition at
Panthers. Yep.
all. So the fact he's even on this list is crazy. I'm not really convinced by
Yeah.
Jalen Tolbert
Agreed.
either as a true wide receiver too. So I'm just more confident in Reynolds and Lazard. Like we know what they are. Are they amazing? No, but like they're serviceable. They can definitely do a job. I don't know that I can confidently say that about the other two on the Cowboys. Know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Um, Not to keep harping on it, but still though, with the Jets, like you have them ahead of some teams that do have competent twos and threes. Do you basically what I'm getting at? Are you expecting like a Wilson breakout this year? Like, you think it finally all clicks?
I don't even know if it's like a true Wilson breakout, right? If you look 2 years ago, the guy straight balled. He was so good, and that was with Zach Wilson
Yeah,
running
he
the
was good.
team. He was really, really good. And last year was a little bit of bump on the road, and I think that truly was. Rodgers coming in, they brought in Adams. How can you ignore the Adams and Rodgers history? Clearly could see frustration on Garrett Wilson's face. So will it be a
Yep.
complete boom? Maybe compared to last year, but I think it'll just return to our expected path of growth for him after, a sophomore slump that
Okay.
maybe we're used to seeing quarterbacks see. So I think we see him return to that expected path of growth there, is what I think. Not necessarily a boom. I think last year was just a bump in the road due to the circumstances of that team.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Another one
Any
I want
others
to
you're
talk
seeing?
about. Um, I've got two more I want to bring up really quick. First one is Chiefs. I've got them
Okay.
all the way up at 5. You've got them all the way down at
Yeah.
13.
Yeah.
Is
We
the
need
main
to discuss
rationale
that one.
there? Yeah, is the main rationale there just to worry about who's on the field? Do they actually play?
Yeah, that was my main thing there. But even still, they would definitely be higher, but I wouldn't have them up at 5. I would probably be looking more like 10 area. But yeah, because of those concerns, that cost them about what, 3 spots on my list. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know, man. It's also tough too. Like last time we saw them play, it was against a really good Eagles defense, but nothing, man. It
Worthy
was
got
nothing
something.
like the whole game.
Worthy got something.
Worthy got garbage is what he got. He got
Yeah.
garbage points is what happened there. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like Rice is excellent, and had they had him, I think it really, like you said, we finally saw Worthy in the right spot. Really saw the difference there in the Chiefs' offense. You throw Rice in the mix too, and yeah, I think they're gonna bounce back as far as a wide receiver room. But yeah, like I said, I just unsure of how much they're even gonna play together. And as we saw last year, really hurt this group when they weren't all on the field together.
Yeah. That's fair. I think the thing that really threw me off was like I'll just point to one team in particular that just like confused me like with how far apart they were. The Commanders, you've got them all the way up at
Mm,
6, and for me, if I'm comparing
yeah,
Commanders and Chiefs, that's another one where it's like it's no question for me the Chiefs got to be ahead of the Commanders, even if it's by one spot. Like I'm
really.
really no doubt about it. With what Debo's done the past
No,
2 3 years,
yeah, I
production way
disagree.
down. Just overall, since his very, very good year that he had on the Niners, he hasn't been great. Scary Terry, you could argue Rice only had 1 year, so I'd argue Scary Terry might have a slight edge on Raji Rice right now, but I'm definitely also taking Hollywood
Yeah,
at the 3 over Noah Brown, who you had, and then definitely Luke
definitely.
McCaffrey, who I had. So I don't know. So
Yeah,
that's just one thing.
I, it's pretty consistent. It's pretty consistent throughout my list. These guys with young receivers, room to grow, but I'm not giving them their flowers too early. And I've been pretty consistent with that throughout all our rankings. And that's pretty much just the same story here. We know what Scary Terry is. He's a top 10 to 12, whatever, receiver in the league. Like the Chiefs do not have that. And as we said, I really value the wide receiver one a lot. And if Debo is, you know, three-quarters of what he was, that's really solid, man. And Worthy could certainly become that and better than that, but he hasn't just yet. So I'm just not giving him their flowers early. I like that we're doing this for the upcoming season. We should be predicting and stuff. I just don't like going too nuts with it. Seeing is believing. Like I don't want to read into hype or just go a little nuts with it. I really go based on what I've seen.
Guess that's fair. I guess my counterpoint would be seeing is believing. Well, then what we've seen of Debo is he's a wide receiver three at best the past 2 3 years. So that would be my main argument. Is like I don't
You
put that.
know, I'm gonna jump on the I'm gonna jump on it, man. I am not a Debo fan. He hates the
Yeah.
Eagles. He's a douche, for lack of a better term. I mean, yeah, you're gonna swing me if you keep pushing.
Okay. And the last one, we'll move on before we get caught on that for 20 years. Um, the
Yeah,
Falcons. I've got them all the way down at 23, and you've got them
yeah,
all the way
there's a
up
big
at
difference.
14. Now, I'll admit, might be slightly low on my list. Maybe. Maybe high teens, possibly. But Darnell Mooney didn't play at all last year, I believe, torn ACL, so I'm not quite sure. Again, pre-existing injury, so
No,
not
he
quite
he played
sure.
a bunch.
What? Who on the Falcons
He
tore
played a
their
bunch.
ACL?
His stats were right with his stats were close with London's. Honestly, they were both over 1,000 barely.
Well, I
Um,
got somebody sitting on
I
my
don't know who you're talking about.
IR on my dynasty team. I'm pretty sure that's on
Yeah,
this
who is
squad.
that? Who is that?
Hold up, we're gonna take a real quick
Now I'm
peek, friends.
curious.
Yeah, hold up.
Yeah.
We got this. Um oh, hold up. It was Rondale Moore who is now on the Vikings actually.
Okay.
He's in an Atlanta
Yeah,
Falcons
the
jersey in
ex-Cardinal.
his yes, he's in an Atlanta Falcons jersey in his picture, which is why I confused that. But yes, so correct. Moore, Mooney, close enough, right? Can't keep them all straight. There's too many of these
Yeah,
guys.
Mooney actually there are a lot, man. It's amazing how much we do remember.
So I will
But
say
yeah,
I will
Mooney,
say and own up
really
then.
good player, and he was a bear too, and
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of him, and he had flashes as a bear. Really pissed me off 2 years ago, but then got a bag from the Falcons, which I thought was insane, but actually, proved his worth last year. Like I said, over 1,000 yards. London the same, and then yeah, now it's McLeod at the three spot. And I feel like that's a solid three as well. But
Okay.
yeah,
So,
I
so
think
I
I'm
will
just a little
say,
higher on London too. But I do agree that he's a little overhyped.
yeah. Sum up. Now that I have Moore and Mooney straight, I will say I'd probably have the Falcons. I'm gonna go with I think 19, maybe as high as
Yeah.
17 max. Um, when I
Yeah, I
consider
mean,
that, so that's not
to
that crazy.
honestly, to that point too, I wonder how many teams even had two receivers over 1,000 because
Yeah,
it's probably not that many,
probably
and they
not
are
that
one of
many.
them. So
Falcons did
yeah,
also
it's a
chase
good
a lot of
group.
games. They did chase a lot of games as well. Like to your point earlier
They
about the
did. They
Bengals,
do
they
beat
they
you.
chased a lot of
Hat.
games.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you. I was just gonna say, let's bring it back to that argument. Let's go.
nah, bro,
Nah,
nah,
we don't have
fam,
the time.
nah. This
Can't do
this.
it.
You got any last
Um,
teams?
we can wrap up. I do want to ask you something though before we go.
All right.
What if, which is kind of on the spot, but what's a group that you really think could just skyrocket through your list and like really impress?
Um, gosh, really skyrocket through my list and impress. Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to say I'm gonna have to. Oh, this is really tough, actually. I think the Colts are a team that comes to mind. If Downs continues to grow, if
Yeah.
Adonai Mitchell continues to grow, that could be a really scary
And what
group.
kind of quarterback play are they getting?
Yeah, what kind of quarterback play they get? That's fair. Um,
Yeah.
Chargers are a bit of a wild card for me. They could definitely skyrocket
Yeah.
if McConkey
That's
keeps
who
it
I
up.
was thinking.
If Johnston figures out
Yeah.
how to not
That
drop
for
the
my
ball,
for my list especially. Yeah, right.
yeah,
Yeah. For my list especially having them at 25, I think
yeah,
they're my squad or the Broncos. Two groups you do have higher, but I think yeah, could
yeah.
definitely catapult.
Now that's fair. I do like that. The Chargers are a good shout. I think the Panthers as well. I really like Xavier Leggett, actually. A weirdo eats
Yeah,
raccoon, but to
they're
each
just
their
very
own.
young.
But
Yeah, right. And the
but I
Cocker
like
dude,
him a lot.
not terrible either.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of, and honestly,
And
for just a really random shout, the uh, the Browns. If Tillman continues to look like he did last year when he's getting wide receiver number one targets, and Judy continues to do what he did after he went over,
yeah,
that's that. That's a team that could jump, especially for, I mean, both of us having them at 29 and 27. They've got some room
pretty
to
low.
go.
They
So
they lost Winston, man. They lost Winston. Which,
they
speaking
did.
of, Giants might catapult if Winston gets the run.
That's
That's a
true.
group that
That's
could
true. Those wide
skyrocket.
receivers are going to get a chance to show out. Both the deep balls when they're up by
Yep.
14 and deep balls when they're down by 35 because he threw 6 picks that game. So,
Amen.
yeah.
Yep.
But, anyways,
Roll the
with that, my
dice.
friends, we wrap up yet another episode of Palm City Chucks. Thank you again for all of you who join and listen. We appreciate you each and every time. We hope you enjoy. Let us know if you would be interested in Chris and I going through the struggle of creating a top 10 to 15 wide receiver list. It'd be really tough, but if you would like to hear
Yeah.
it, let us know.
Boy.
And next week for you, we're
Yeah.
moving
We
to
need demand for that.
team defense rankings. We're not breaking it down by position. We're doing team defense, and we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll have some fun variety like this week. This one was really fun, really difficult to do
Yeah.
considering multiple players for
Was.
each team, but I had a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, please like, subscribe, comment, and we'll be back with you next week.
Later, PCC!